Topic number 2. How many point guards would you take over Jeremy Fears Jr.?
God damn it.
All right, this is actually a topic I'm really excited for. I want to play a game of Big Ten hypothetical over or under card.
Hey.
So you are going to have to play set the line, though. Like you,
Why would what?
you're
See,
the odds maker.
That's just not playing to the strengths of our program.
You are the odds maker.
It's like asking Umar Bala to shoot pull-up elbow jumpers. Why are we doing it?
It's like asking me to not eat bananas on camera. It's just never going to happen. So here is what's going to happen. I'm going to give you a prompt for specific teams or maybe even the conference as a whole. And then you are going to tell me what the line should be for the prompt. Like how many blanks in blank time span. You're going to tell me what the over-under should be, and then we will both decide would we take the over or the under. Now, I can contribute. Like, if I think your line's way off, I will certainly tell you we'll contribute and debate this. But
Okay.
I think this game will be fun. Do you have any questions before the game begins?
No.
You good?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Prompt number 1. We'll start with your program. How many Final Fours will Michigan State make in the next 20 seasons?
I'm going to set the line at 4.5.
So you think 25% of the years going forward, Michigan State's going to make the Final Four?
I'm going to set the line at 4.5.
We're going to have to flesh this one out. This is how this is going to work. This whole topic became a brainchild of mine because of the Michigan State debate that got me banned from the Discord yesterday. I basically made some comments along the lines of like, March success stuff was special at Michigan State from 1999 till 2011. People took some big time exception with that. There was a lot of Michigan State fans being like, 2012 through 2019 was awesome too. I was like, yeah, you had 2 really good runs in that decade. A lot of programs have 2 really good runs. You also had like some failures. And that's every program. Like to me, the magic of Mr. March, Michigan State was 99 through 11 when Draymond left. You had like Appling and Payne who didn't get there. You had the Bridges era, didn't get there. You had one great Cassius Winston year. You had one great Denzel Valentine, Travis Trice year, and then Zell lost in the first round his senior year. So like that's every program. Like Michigan made 2 Final Fours in that span. Purdue's made, like everybody can do that for the last decade. So in my head, I started thinking, wait a second. 20 years ago, we would have set the over-under for Michigan State like 8 Final Fours in a 20-year span. Now I think it's changed. And we don't know how long Izzo's going to be here. We know Izzo won't use the money at his disposal from Ishbia. And maybe you would have a better chance at making Final Fours, quite frankly, if he was gone and there was someone who would use that money in the NIL era. So you setting the line at 4.5 for the next 20. How do you get to that number?
I guessed.
How many of those 4.5 do you think would be attributed to Izzo? Like if I flip this on you, would you,
One.
What's the over-under on Izzo Final Fours again in his career?
Oh, you set the line at 0.5.
It's like 0.5?
Yeah.
It's like, is he going to do it again or not?
Is he going to do it or not?
So then if you're setting the line at 4.5 for 20, that would mean to tell me you think Izzo's gone relatively soon and someone else comes in that's higher ceiling.
I think Izzo's going to give me 1.
He's going to get you 1 in what, 5 years?
In the next 3 to 5, yes.
And then you're going to get 3 to 4 in the next 15 after that with whoever comes next.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's the path, I like your line. If Izzo's here for like 10 more years coaching till his deathbed, I think you would lower the line a little bit, right?
Yeah, I would.
A little bit. Okay. All right. So at 4.5, you're taking the over?
No, I'm taking the under.
I would take the under at 4.5 in the next 20 for Michigan State. Okay. That was one of my 8 prompts. You ready for the next one?
Yeah, I am. Golly.
How many Big Ten championships will Purdue win in the next 10 years? Big Ten regular season championships. Matt Painter runs this league right now. It's him and maybe Brad Underwood and nobody else.
Shared count?
Shared counts. A banner for a Big Ten regular season championship.
Regular season championship.
How many in the next 10 years for Matt Painter? What's the over-under?
So I'm gonna walk you through my thinking process here, even though it might be stupid, but I'm gonna walk you through it. Braden Smith is there another 2 years. That automatically gives them. I'm starting at two championships, Big Ten regular season. After those guys leave, though, like he hit with Braden, he would have to hit with another player, which he might do because it's Purdue.
Yeah, even if we're imagining a world post Braden and Fletch, like,
Yeah, post Braden, Fletch, Edie, like that's an era moving on.
but I mean, the team immediately after that, in theory, is going to be like Jakari Harris, Jacobson, Heidi
Yeah,
Golden
I would. You said 10 years, correct?
in the next decade, 10 years.
Next decade, I would set the line at. There's more teams involved now too. Ugh. I want to say 5.
A hard 5, not a 4.5.
No, no, 4.5. 4.5.
I think I'm gonna get spicy. No, you can set the line. I'm not gonna change your line. I think at 4.5, that's a fair line. I'm hammering the over if it's 4.5.
What would you say to that?
I think 5 is about right. 5.5, you would convince me to maybe bet the under. But I think the number I would hone in on Big Ten championships for Matt Painter in the next 10 years is 6.
6 out of the next 10.
I think, well, you got to imagine, in my opinion, well, you know what? No, I got to change this because I have Indiana winning the league this year.
That's what I'm saying. Teams like there's
I
also
didn't
more.
think of it that way.
There's more teams now too.
There
It's
are
harder.
Yeah, no, we're too high. I'm taking the under at 4.5.
Okay, I think they win 4. That's what I would put it at. I think
4
they
is a
would.
lot. 40% of the Big Ten championships in the next decade would be a lot.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Be really good. Yeah, I'll take the under at 4.5. Okay. That was good thought process. I was in a mental pretzel on that one. Here's the third one. How many Final Fours will Brad Underwood make in his entire Illinois tenure? What is the line? This is a tough one because you don't know how long the tenure will be. It could be 2 years. It could be 20 years. But what do you set the line at for Brad Underwood Final Fours at Illinois in his life? I love this game.
I hate this game. They're gonna hate this. Brad Underwood's gonna make a Final Four, and it's time coaching. I don't know if I believe it's gonna be at Illinois.
So are you setting the line at 0.5?
But I respect Brad and what he's doing at Illinois, so I'm gonna set it at 1.5. But I'm gonna take the under.
I'm impressed with your line making right now. I think 1.5 is the right line. With that said, I want to say this out loud. You saying Michigan State is 4.5 for the next 2 decades and Brad Underwood's Illinois is 1.5 is going to piss a lot of people off.
How do you know that Brad's not going to be at Michigan State after this?
Again, I understand that's part of the conversation, but you're also banking on a coach you don't even know who it is at Michigan State, winning you 3 Final Fours after whatever Izzo leaves you. Whereas like Illinois is humming right now, was a game away from a Final Four, is bringing in the best recruiting classes in school history. And you're just like, yeah, maybe 1, maybe. I'll take the under. Like,
I mean, you never know. I mean, it could be another. They got there. They did. They did it. They exercised the demons. They beat Morehead State. They beat a spunky Duquesne team to get to that second weekend. They beat one of the better teams in the tournament in Iowa State, and then they ran into UConn. And boy, did they run into them.
I think 1.5 is the right line. I'm taking the over. I think he gets to 2 somehow. That's also under the I think Brad coaches at Illinois for like 8 years.
Okay.
I would not take over 1.5 for anything under 8 years. But I think he could get there twice in the if last year felt very John Beeline getting over the hump to me. Like he got there. Now it's talent time. Now take 8 years of winning and see what happens. Yeah, I'm telling you, 4.5 for Michigan State and 1.5 for Illinois. People aren't going to like you when I make this a graphic in a couple days.
Oh, come on.
Next one.
Son of a bitch.
How many times in the Dusty May Michigan tenure does Michigan miss the NCAA tournament? What is the line? They just missed the tournament last year. How low is the floor for Dusty May in his tenure at Michigan?
I'd set it at half. Set
I
it
mean,
at half.
they're not a projected in the field team this year.
I think if there was a year they'd miss it, it'd be this year. That'd be the only year.
So you think things will be on an upward trajectory enough that he will not miss the tournament at Michigan after this season?
Yeah.
That seems like that conflicts with your views on Dusty the last times we talked.
How so?
Well, I just like you've alluded to there being a lot of disaster potential. And like Florida Atlantic wasn't safely in the tournament this year. Like
Made it though.
yeah, but I think you have that type of season in a stronger conference, you're probably out, right? They made it because they got to beat up on a lot of American teams in conference play.
Well, they had a good non-con though. They beat some teams.
Okay. All right. I'm pleasantly surprised that's your answer. I just that was a prompt for you, thinking you would double down on your Dusty Mayfield. You didn't do that.
Wouldn't you set it there?
If the line was 0.5, I think I would take the over.
That he missed.
I don't I hope they make it this year, but I think it's 50-50. And if it's a 50-50 shot in year one and the line's 0.5, like I'd rather
Is it
one
50?
bad year. I don't think they're mocked in the tournament right now. I don't.
But doesn't that go against your feelings on Michigan this year?
I think they're a pure bubble team. I think they're
Pure
50
bubble.
50. I think it's pure bubble. I got to see it to know. I think they have the talent to make the tournament for sure. But the guard plays a huge question. Like, I'm not running from the fact there's huge holes on this team and a huge question mark.
Okay. So, like, expectations, though, is what?
My expectation is that this year's team wins at least 18 games. Like at worst, give me what Indiana was last year.
Got
Like
you.
a 19-win season, but not in the tournament. And then upward trajectory. Like get some recruits, show me it's coming. That's my expectation.
Okay. Bet.
But if you're giving me 0.5 as the line for Michigan missing the tournament in the Dusty May era, I will hammer the over, and it will hurt my heart, but I will hammer it.
Well, what I would probably set the line is 1. Like like I said, I think if they miss it, it'd be this year.
Okay.
Moving forward, I don't think it's that hard to make the tournament.
Not
It's
for your
really
program,
not.
it's not.
But it's like in general though, like it's really not that hard. You
It's
got to
harder
be bad.
it's harder than you think. It's harder than you think, my friend. Okay. I have another Brad Underwood one actually. How many non-Illinois teams does Brad Underwood coach before he retires from coaching in the remainder of his college basketball coaching career?
I set the line at 2. Ah,
He's not exactly young,
no, he's not.
not old either, but I don't think
I
he's
set
looking to jump like that.
I set the line at 1.5.
1.5. I think if he left Illinois, it would be for the forever job.
You think?
Yeah, which like I still think that's coming, but I don't think he's like gonna jump to somewhere random and then jump again. Like what's the path where he ends up at 2 different schools?
Something happens where it doesn't go well.
Like he gets fired?
Not even fired for success reasons, like maybe like administration, like they're not seeing eye to eye reasons.
Whitman pulls the plug. Something happened.
Why are my checks not cashing?
Mm. I mean, the only basketball path one I could see is like if he jumped for Kansas State, his alma mater, and then jumped to a blue blood after. But the blue bloods had a lot of openings this year and didn't call. So,
Well, you want to know Brad's actual path?
yeah.
I think there's a chance he ends up at maybe a blue blood school after this, right?
Yep.
He's there for a long time. It's his forever job, like you said, right?
Yep. Yep.
Retires. takes 2 years off. He's good, right? He's living life. Tyler's got grandkids. He's feeling really good right now. Tyler's doing a good job coaching Illinois. Kansas State needs someone to come fill in.
Oh, the
They need someone to.
home.
Hey, come on! Like we're struggling right now. We had to fire Jerome Tang Jr., Jerome Tang the third. He didn't do too well. We need someone to just be the intern coach, maybe, and then we'll see. And he spends like a year or two there.
Okay. Okay. Um, so you're taking the over at 1.5.
Yes.
I'm taking the under at 1.5, to be clear. All right, I have 3 left. I love this so much. I could do this all day. How many second weekend appearances in the NCAA tournament does Indiana make under Mike Woodson?
How many second weekends?
Second weekend, Sweet 16 or better. How many will Indiana basketball make under Mike Woodson? What is the line? He was almost fired 2 months ago.
I'd set the line at 1.5.
Ooh, this is a good line. You're making good lines today. Ooh. Is one of those this year?
Oh no, I'm setting the line at 1.5.
Yeah.
I take the under at half.
You think it never happens?
No, I don't think it ever happens.
But you think people would bet it at 1.5?
Yes.
Okay. Oh yeah, you did me dirty. I would have hammered the 0.5 over. If this year's team doesn't make a Sweet 16, then I think it's going under, because then there's gonna be a lot of loud critics.
Mm-hmm.
But if this year's team makes it, then the program's humming again.
Yep.
And then Braylon Mullins, Trent Sisley.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to, do you believe in this year's team? And I do.
Do.
I gotta take the over.
All right. Best of luck to you.
2 left. Brad Underwood, Matt Painter, Tom Izzo, Dusty May, and Mike Woodson. 5 coaches.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those 5 coaches are still coaching their current team 7 years from now?
7 years from now.
The year is 2031. It's July 2031.
Ooh.
Brad Underwood at Illinois, Matt Painter at Purdue, Tom Izzo at Michigan State, Dusty May at Michigan, and Mike Woodson at Indiana. How many of those 5 guys are still coaching their team 7 years from now? What's the line? This is such a good one, man.
I think the line should be 1.5.
1.5?
Yes.
If you set the line at 1.5, you got to hammer the over. You have to.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do. Because the implication is Painter will be there. So all you need is one of the other 4. And at least one of them will somehow still be there. Like if it's 1.5, over 1.5's got to be
better line. The better line is probably 2.5.
That is the better line. And you're hammering the under at 2.5?
Yes.
Talk me through each guy.
Brad's at another school. Paint's at Purdue. Izzo retires. May's at another school. Woodson is fired.
What's the Dusty move? Like a blue blood calls in 7 years?
He goes to Indiana once Woodson's fired.
Oh, so those go hand in hand.
Yeah.
See, I think if just individually, do I think this guy will be there in 7 years at their school? I think Brad Underwood is a toss-up, but I'd say yes. Matt Painter, yes, definitely. Tom Izzo, I think, is a 50-50, man. Like, I think y'all think he's ready to go, and I think this man never plans on leaving. So it'll come down to health, but we'll see. Dusty May, I think, is 50-50. Like, if he's not doing great at Michigan, it's not like unless Kentucky or Indiana calls, I don't think he's running to leave, but it could happen. I think it's 50-50. And then Woodson, I mean, Indiana's doing great right now. Like, so I think all those are 50-50 shots, which you add it all up is probably 2.5.
Also, Woodson did state that no one can make him leave.
Right.
Like they're not
If
going.
I had to go gun to my head, I would take the over on 2.5, and I would say Painter, Underwood, and Dusty May are still at their schools.
Why is there a gun to your head?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, final one. How many national championships does the Big Ten Conference win in the next 10 seasons? What's the line? Everybody knows we're cursed. We haven't won one in forever. But reminder, 7 different schools have played for a national championship from the Big Ten recently.
I'd set the line at 1.5.
1.5.
Yeah. Because if it's at half, I feel like the value would be hammering the over. That someone gets there and gets it done.
I would bet the under at 0.5.
You would?
Here's my big reason why. If we didn't get one in the Edie era, what is coming? With all due respect, like it's a transitionary period right now.
More about.
Tom Izzo's not a real title threat these days, and we don't know if he's going to leave. Dusty May is a long way away from title worthy. Mike Woodson is Mike Woodson, as you always say. Brad Underwood's good. They're a big leap from the best, as we saw in the Elite Eight, and he's probably the second best in the conference. Like Painter just had his best team ever, and it was a blowout. So part of that was how good UConn is. But I think you look through top 25 polls, some people say there's no top 15 team in this conference. So we might be headed towards a decade where these Pac-12 teams come in and there is no top 10 program.
Don't got to be top 10 to win a title, though.
You don't. But we don't have a UConn.
Can we fluke our way to one?
Maybe Musk could. Maybe honestly, UCLA might be the best option here. I'm taking the under at 1.5. What do you take?
I'm taking the over at half if we're setting it at that.
What is it at 1.5?
1.5, you got to take the under.
I mean, according to you, Michigan State will be there 4 times, so you're going to have 4 shots at it.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Did you like that exercise?
Didn't enjoy a second of it.
It was so fun.